Welcome to the bold analysis. I want to start by telling good Kenyans that you are alone. I've just been following the latest developments in this country in respect to passing of the finance bill, and I saw senior Professor Mtaani blaming Azimio for not putting a fight in the National Assembly. But I think my position is still clear that in respect to the transaction in the floor of House, no single statement or any argument from Azimio wing will convince even a single member of parliament from the majority wing who has received a call from President William Ruto. I don't know how we are not very pragmatic, that you want to tell me that an opposition MP will be able to convince an MP in the floor of the House, on the other wing, who has already shown allegiance and has been, the throat has been irrigated by the State House battalion. But that's not the gist of this. The kind of lifting done by the deep state to push the finance bill is a riddle I want us to unravel. I want to agree with my friend Ruben Kigame. I was just speaking to him. I've just bumped on some of his clips. And there seems to be sort of a mad push for the bill. And you'll even wonder that if it fails, President William Ruto's presidency was coming to an end. Now, do you know, I was just getting this, nearly 10 political bloggers who are blogging for the Azimio wing, especially Raila Odinga, were recruited and exclusively they've been given they're even getting scripts of what to post in their Twitter handles. All of them have been employed for just lifting of the finance bill. But that's not it. 7 Azimio MPs were also kicked out of the National Assembly by Moses Masika Wetangula as part of the wider scheme to reduce the numbers. Threats and bribes is another story. But today, I just listened to a video from Salasya saying that Ruto's maiden bill was a matter of life and death, and leaking out how is opening a lid on how a conference in Morocco was used to airlift a host of opposition MPs from the country in part of the deal that is also dragging Opiyo Wandayi. And all this was to make sure the MPs are not in the country.
We are sleeping. Huku ni mchana kabisa. We are here at Rabat. This is the town of Rabat in Morocco. Number one, I want to talk about the issue of the voting. And I know Kenyans want to know who voted and who did not vote. Number one thing that I have not been in Kenya is that we had this trip of devolution last year. That it was planned like 3 months ago. And because of 3 months ago, we had not known that when the bill is going to be discussed. And majority of the members of the parliament were in the house, knew that the bill will come next week. And again, even Oduor said that how can you give today a document of 284 pages? You expect the members to read them yesterday and then to internalize it and make a voting today. They bring it in the night and then they bring it to vote at night. How? Even the members themselves, majority of them were voting. They didn't know what they were voting exactly for. And that is why the people that should be blamed is not and I want also to blame our minority leader. When I just saw you online saying that you had agreed anonymously to vote today, when you knew that most of the members had gone outside the country, and maybe majority of them, you could have even taken the register where the members, are you coming to vote? You cannot just expect that and then they explain to you, and then you are not mobilizing. So, minority leader, you also need to up your game. These guys knew that today is voting, and they came in numbers. For those who are the Kenya Kwanza members who are not in the country right now, they who are not in the country, they were able to mobilize those who are in the country, and that is a fact. So for us who are not, so it was like maybe you knew that we are going to the finance bill is not going, we are going to lose it. So you are doing it intentionally so that some other members will be seen as traitors, because you are in the powers and privileges, the leadership.
Now, when you listen to Salasya, I know he can easily be despised because of his recent outburst with Babu Owino. But when he was speaking, he was in Morocco. And he's complaining, number one, that they even knew that that bill was going to be presented in Parliament next week. Do you want to tell me, and I think I need to make it clear, foreign trips by MPs are approved by Parliamentary Service Commission, whose chair is Speaker of the National Assembly. The boss for the MPs is the Speaker. So any foreign trip is approved by the Speaker, and of course probably in coordination with the House Business team, if standing orders provides for that. And saying, number one, they were not sure. I don't know why I'm not supporting them. I am just, the issue of they were not sure the bill was going to be presented in court, in Parliament, I think that's neither here nor there. What exactly is happening here is that this conference, they were airlifted, and those who left were actually given a place to exempt themselves from the bill business in the House. So it's not true. I agree with Salasya that they were out, but one, not that they didn't know. They knew. They knew that bill was going to be presented. I don't think it was a secret, because as early as last week by Thursday, we already knew that the bill was going to be presented on Monday. Then, of course, the budget was going to be read this week by Waziri. So in between the budget, before the budget was read, we knew that it was going to be presented. So I don't think it's something that can be treated as if they don't know. But clearly, they were airlifted out of the country to make sure they don't participate in it. Listen to the way Salasya is talking. I am tempted to not to agree with Babu Owino, because Babu Owino was absent in the National Assembly, and he seems to be saying, and he's saying, that he was meeting his lawyers because his case is slated for mention tomorrow. And so he was meeting his lawyers. In my previous analysis, I said that MPs were also, the judicial service system, the criminal justice system was also a weapon that had been sharpened against those who would go against that bill. When I was doing that analysis, I had not even read the tweet from Babu Owino. So I am not convinced that Babu Owino is about meeting the lawyers. He could meet the lawyers at night. I don't support it. He could still vote, then leave and still meet the lawyers. I don't think the issue of meeting the lawyers is a whole day thing. And so, something is very clear, and that is what Kenyans must agree. Everyone has a price. Everyone has a price. Who knew Sabina Chege would betray Uhuru Kenyatta? Who knew Kanini Kega, the guy who was going to kneel in front of Raila Odinga in Mount Kenya when Raila was campaigning there? Who knew of Jalan, of all the people? Who knew of Game MP Elisha Odhiambo? And you can add into that list. Everyone has a price. I am seeing a discussion about why am I not adding Wamushamba. Do you want to believe that Raila Odinga can pay Wamushamba to oppose that bill? Do you want to believe that? Yeah, that one. Well, yeah, that is another thought that could not even cross your mind. And so, it is very clear that, number one, this Morocco trip was a trap that was set. And this could have been an in-house parliament thing that happened to make sure that some MPs are not there. Now, Azimio maybe wanted that bill to pass. And let me tell you, Azimio wanted that bill to pass. Yes. And in fact, whether they wanted it or not, it had to pass. The only contestation was about the amendments. And they wanted it to pass because for them, it will be, I know the team was already saying the way Kenyans need to understand the value, the cost of the decisions they made in the ballot. This is what happened. And this is according to my opinion. This trip, according to Salasya, it had been organized before 3 months ago. That means 3 months ago that something was there. And if that trip was organized, it was some devolution conference or something, and if it was organized, the MPs were facilitated and it could be used to bribe them. You know, when you're taking, they're given some exorbitant allowances. For them being given those allowances and clearly being told that we want you to abstain from the vote, but again, if you abstain and you're within the country, you may not be able to explain to your party leader or to your voters. So we are giving you a window to stay out of the country and you're gonna understand. And I want to bring in Opi Wandai. MPs knew. Opi Wandai is being blamed for not whipping the members and even not even confirming with them. Now, even if all those Azimio MPs were to be in parliament, they will not vote. They will not win. The bill will still have passed. But it would have been by a margin that is more reasonable than that, almost double the number that we've seen. So it's clear that even a minority leader didn't reach out maybe to these MPs about it. And he could have as well be part of the script to ensure that these MPs do not vote. Because what they would have done, I don't know whether there was a window to push the voting to next week. You know. But again, you will be told all members. Kenya Kwanza has nothing to lose because all their members were going to vote for the bill. Now, it's Azimio wing that you had to negate the number. You remove 7 and some others to the foreign trips. I'm told the number is even in the tune of 20. And not just those ones. There are quite others that are also out of the country. There is another team that went with the advanced team because the president is in Geneva. So there are also some members of parliament that went with President William Ruto's advanced team to Switzerland. So they did not participate in that bill. And I think there was also another, there was the recent one, I think Germany, that went with the Kakamega governor. So I was like around 20 MPs were flown out secretly not to participate in that bill. 1, 2, 3. Ruto is clearly struggling with the legitimacy. And after setting the country, talking about the bill, it was the narrative changed on the merit of the bill, but to be between Raila and Ruto, who is going to win. And that is why you will see that if you check social media, you realize that William Ruto's bloggers and allies are bragging in social media the way they have vanquished the Azimio. And I'm like, was it really in the context of that competition? Because why are we even talking about a competition while Rigathi Gachagua was in Kitui telling us that telling the country that, you know, the bill will pass because they have the majority. So about passing of the bill, no one questioned, and it is not a shock. No one was shocked about it. But Ruto wanted such a big margin, and that clearly to show that he still asserts the authority. It was also a bit of asserting the authority because there is a bit of insecurity of his legitimacy. I normally call it sometimes insecurity of tenure, but then also insecurity of the legitimacy. Now, people are on their own. The Kenyan people are on their own. And let me just tell you, it's not about even Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. Everyone has a price. The number of Azimio MPs who could also voted for the bill. We just looked at that. Also voted for the bill. Look at Esther Passaris. Esther Passaris is in Nairobi. And if you look at Nairobi MPs were very cautious. That is why you've seen Tim Wanyonyi, despite Wetangula is his brother, and he's supposed to be very cagey, he did not support. Beatrice Elachi has been hovering around William Ruto and seemed not to be comfortable with around Raila. But at that bill, she had to vote no. He's an Nairobi MP. Look at the independent candidate, Karori. He had to vote no. Why? Because of Nairobi factor. But a women rep like Esther Passaris decided to vote yes. You know why? Everyone has a price. And that's why Kenyan people are on their own. If someone can genuinely come and show interest, the masses can swing immediately. But I want to finish by saying, I think Raila don't call that mass action. No, there's no need for it. The bill has been passed. I think let the Kenyan people have it. Let them get better share of the dose, because when you call mass action, that will be the new blame. Not even this taxes. Someone shall start saying that, of course, is saying because they don't want to pay taxes. I think let Kenyans get the better share of the doses. I'm seeing, as me saying, they want to call a mass action. I wish someone tell them no. Let Kenyans feel it. Because we were told, Regarding saying that, you know what, this election, Kenyans need to know how to vote, the value of voting. So wacha iturambe. I think that's it. Wacha iturambe. Yeah. Wacha iturambe. And I believe as in July when inaanza kukatwa, Kenyans should learn the hard lessons. And it will help us to inculcate a very good culture in our elections. That as we talk issues, we should look at politicians straight in the eye. I wish we could have a recall after 2 years. Hey, hands can really change. That's my point.